The ocean's calling. The ocean. Vast. Unforgiving. Eternal. It has always called to dreamers, to adventurers, to those who look beyond the horizon and wonder what lies beyond. Throughout history, men and women have risked everything to challenge the sea, explorers in wooden ships, sailors in steel vessels, wanderers chasing freedom across blue infinities. But in 2009, when most teenagers were buried in schoolwork, glued to screens, or chasing everyday distractions, one young Australian girl chose a path almost unimaginable. At just 16 years old, Jessica Watson dared to attempt what seasoned sailors twice, even 3 times her age, would fear: to sail solo, non-stop, and unassisted around the world. Her vessel, a 34-foot pink yacht. Her mission, a journey of 23,000 nautical miles. Her challenge, the vast, merciless oceans of the earth. This is the story of courage, resilience, and the triumph of spirit. This is Jessica Watson's journey. Early life and the spark of a dream. Jessica Watson was born in 1993, in Queensland, Australia. She was the second of 4 children in a family that loved adventure. Her parents, Roger and Julie, weren't sailors by profession, but they believed in raising their kids to embrace freedom and exploration. Jessica's earliest years were filled with curiosity, a stubborn streak of independence, and a fascination with water. By age 12, she had read Jessie Martin's memoir, The Story of Another Young Australian Who Circumnavigated the Globe. From that moment, her dream took root. She wanted to do the same. She wanted to chase the horizon. To some, this was childish fantasy. To Jessica, it became a calling. And like so many great journeys, her voyage began long before she ever set sail. It began in the heart, with a dream too big to ignore. Preparation and skepticism. Dreams may inspire, but they demand preparation. And for a teenager to attempt one of the most dangerous feats on earth, the preparation had to be relentless. Jessica trained for years, learning not just how to sail, but how to endure. Navigation, meteorology, mechanics, emergency repairs, every skill mattered. She worked with coaches, endured physical training, and learned how to survive alone. Her boat, a 34-foot Sparkman and Stevens yacht, was retrofitted and renamed Ella's Pink Lady. But with every step she took closer to the voyage, the world pushed back. Many criticized the attempt as reckless, even irresponsible. Commentators said she was too young, too inexperienced, too fragile. Some called it a stunt, others a tragedy waiting to happen. And when, during an early test sail, Jessica collided with a cargo ship near Stradbroke Island, the skeptics seemed vindicated. Headlines questioned her ability. Voices grew louder: she isn't ready. She'll never make it. But Jessica held fast. In her heart, failure was not a verdict. It was a lesson. The departure, October 18, 2009. Sydney Harbour. A crisp October morning. Jessica stood on deck, her blonde hair whipping in the wind, her boat gleaming in its bright pink coat of paint. Family and supporters gathered, waving banners, holding back tears. Critics watched too, some shaking their heads. At just 16, she was about to leave everything behind: no crew, no support ships, no ports of refuge. For the next 210 days, she would be utterly alone. As the sun rose higher, she untied the lines. Ella's Pink Lady slipped away from the dock, sails filling with wind. A cheer rose from the crowd, mingled with sobs and shouts of encouragement. Jessica Watson was gone, swallowed by the Pacific Ocean. Into the blue, the first days at sea. The first stretch of the journey was almost gentle, a deceptive calm before the storms ahead. Jessica adjusted to life on board, strict routines of navigation, weather checks, repairs, and rest. Her world shrank to the size of her yacht, 34 feet of fiberglass and canvas, and expanded at the same time, stretching endlessly in every direction. Alone with the sea, she faced a silence so deep it could unnerve the soul. But with every passing mile, she grew stronger. The doubters faded. The horizon became her companion. And the dream began to take shape. The Pacific Trials. The Pacific Ocean tested her resilience early. Squalls rolled in, unpredictable and fierce. Waves rose like walls, hammering the yacht, tossing her like a toy. Jessica learned to reef sails quickly, to trust her instincts, and to cling to routine when chaos threatened. Nights were the hardest. The black ocean swallowed light, and the yacht pitched violently in darkness. Each creak of the mast, each howl of the wind was a reminder, she was alone, utterly dependent on her own skill and determination. But Jessica pressed on. She journaled her days, filmed video logs, and stayed connected through satellite communication. To the outside world, her updates were a glimpse of bravery. But behind her calm words was a teenager wrestling with isolation, fear, and the crushing weight of responsibility. Crossing the equator. Sailors have long celebrated the crossing of the equator. For Jessica, it was a milestone proof that she was no longer a dreamer, but a doer. She marked the occasion with quiet joy. Alone, yes, but carrying the pride of a nation, and proving, mile by mile, that youth was not weakness. The Atlantic Challenge. After battling across the Pacific, Jessica entered the Atlantic, the most unpredictable stretch of her voyage. Storms gathered like armies. Waves towered stories high. Winds shrieked with unrelenting force. 7 times, Jessica's yacht was knocked down, slammed sideways, masts scraping the sea, everything on board hurled into chaos. Each time, she clung on, braced against the fury, trusting the design of her yacht and her own endurance. It was in these moments, salt water stinging her eyes, body battered, heart pounding, that her true spirit revealed itself. She did not surrender. She repaired what broke. She pressed forward. Loneliness became another storm. Weeks stretched into months. Her only voices were crackling satellite calls and her own thoughts echoing in the cabin. Yet Jessica found solace in the beauty of the sea, sunsets painted in fire, dolphins dancing alongside the bow, stars so bright they felt within reach. Moments of beauty. Not every moment was hardship. There were times when the ocean gave back, a sunrise after a sleepless night, the calm of a glassy sea, the miracle of whales surfacing nearby. Jessica often wrote of these moments, reminders that the world was not just vast and terrifying, but achingly beautiful. These were the gifts that kept her spirit alive. The Indian Ocean, a final trial. If the Atlantic tested her, the Indian Ocean punished her. Storm systems pounded Ella's Pink Lady. Waves broke over the deck, the yacht rolled dangerously, and fatigue weighed heavy on Jessica. Knockdowns continued, each one more violent than the last. Equipment failed. Repairs became constant. But Jessica's resolve had hardened. She was no longer the untested teenager critics had doubted. She was a sailor, fierce, resilient, unbreakable. She battled every storm, adjusted every sail, and refused to quit. The long home stretch. As she approached Australia, her journey entered its final phase. Jessica had been at sea for over 200 days. Her body bore the toll: weight loss, exhaustion, muscles weakened by months without walking on land. But her spirit soared. She was nearly home. On May 15, 2010, as Ella's Pink Lady neared Sydney Harbour, thousands gathered on shore. Boats filled the water, horns blared, banners waved. The teenager the world once doubted had become a hero. When Jessica finally sailed past the Sydney Heads, the sound of cheers echoed across the water. Families, politicians, sailors, children, all were there, welcoming her home. The return of a hero. Jessica stepped ashore, tears in her eyes, her family rushing to embrace her. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. But in that moment, the noise faded. What mattered was simple: she had done it. Against all odds, she had sailed solo, non-stop, and unassisted around the world. At 16 years old, she had proven that age was not weakness. That determination could silence doubt. That courage could carry even the smallest among us across the largest challenges. Legacy and inspiration. Jessica Watson became the Young Australian of the Year in 2011. She wrote her memoir, True Spirit. Her story inspired millions, reminding the world that dreams should never be dismissed as impossible. Her journey was not about breaking records. It was about spirit, about proving to herself, and to everyone watching, that with courage and perseverance, no horizon is too far. In 2023, Netflix released True Spirit, a film retelling her voyage for a new generation. The story of a teenage girl who dared to chase the sea lives on, not just as history, but as inspiration. Closing reflection: the horizon beyond. The ocean remains what it always has been: vast, merciless, infinite. But every so often, someone comes along to remind us that its immensity can be met with human spirit. Jessica Watson, at just 16, faced storms that would break most adults, endured solitude that would crush most souls, and returned not just as a sailor, but as a symbol. Her voyage was not just about sailing around the world. It was about sailing into the heart of fear, loneliness, and doubt, and finding, within, the strength to rise above it. The horizon is always there, waiting. For Jessica, it was not an end, but a beginning. And for all who hear her story, it is a reminder: dreams may be dangerous, difficult, even impossible until someone proves they are not.